for extra life points best.
Well, this is another episode, and I'm actually disappointed as to what happened the other day. I've actually released a video yesterday, and I've gotten slapped with so many dislikes, but I think I know what it is. I think the reason why I was slapped with so many dislikes was because people were under the impression that I had the Dreams beta. I do not have the Dreams beta. I didn't insinuate that I had the Dreams beta, and somehow people were pissed off when they clicked on the video. There wasn't any beta. I really don't give a fuck, but that was very curious. And you know what? Even if they do decide to click on it and give me a dislike, I don't give a fuck, because you know what? You guys are giving me the views. But anyway, we're going to talk about a couple topics here. One of the topics is, of course, the NPDs and how the Switch basically outsold everybody for December, if I'm not mistaken. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's to be expected. The PS4 and the Xbox One were on the market for 5 years. On top of that, there are 91 million users for the PS4. So it's going to have to slow down. I know that a lot of fanboys are out there and they're like, oh my God, the PS4 is losing. Geez, the PS4 is losing. And it's like, whatever. We still have multiple games that are coming out. So there's no drought in regard to that. We still got The Last of Us, Death Stranding, and, you know, my personal favorite, Days Gone, which we'll get into that in a little bit. Not that I have any particular information, it's just little concerns there and not about the gameplay. But anyway, going back to the NPDs, just realize that the Smash Brothers game is basically the best-selling exclusive of all time. And I'm a little bit shocked about that. Not because the game is bad or anything like that, 'cause it's not. It's a really good game. It's a party game, and it's Nintendo. And on top of it, it's a fighting game. So, and you have to pay online for this game. I guess this is one of those things where you kind of have to play it and pay for online, I should say. So that's probably what's going on here. And I don't know. Personally, I've said this before in the past. I think that the Switch is a huge ripoff, not because of the graphics or anything like that, because you can still have a really nice handheld. You can look at it as a handheld that you can play on your TV. I have no qualms with that. I think the biggest problem that I see is that so many additions you have to buy. You gotta buy a controller if you want to be any kind of competitive with anything, really, because the actual stuff that comes with it is not suitable. It'll put you at a disadvantage. On top of it, they trying to make it into like this current gen console with, Fortnite and things like that. And it's like, there's a lower frame rate, the tinier screen. There's a tiny screen, a smaller screen, I should say. And netcode is garbage for what Nintendo is really supplying. So I'm just like, okay, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then it's just the memory cards and stuff like that. You have to buy those things, and they don't have like a good size for the, I shouldn't say memory cards. What do you call it? Flash stick? Well, I don't even know what the fuck you call that shit. Memory stick, memory whatever the fuck it is. You know what I'm talking about. But they are very expensive. I remember people were saying that the Vita, its downfall was the expense of it. But the Vita was a handheld, and the Vita had simpler games. This is trying to do next-gen games, or not next-gen, right? These current-gen games, which are a lot bigger. So if you really wanted to save your stuff, you need a lot of memory. You need a lot. But I digress. I'm not going to sit there and say congratulations. I don't own any stocks in Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. It's just I'm just delivering the news. I'm pretty sure you've seen it along the lines of the internet and stuff like that. But that's what it was. Nintendo was on top for December's NPDs. And one thing I always thought, I was always under the impression that the Wii, not Wii, but the Switch was $250. It's actually $300. So, you know, I didn't, it's a new console. I mean, essentially it is. It's a new console. And not that many people have it on the market as of yet. So people are going to buy it. And, you know, Smash Brothers was the driving force for itself. You know, and it's clear that, you know, you can see it because that was the highest selling exclusive to date. Going on to other news here. If I'm not mistaken, let me see here. Because I know I'm trying to think, should I go on to that one subject or should, I think I'm gonna go straight to it. Okay, so Resident Evil, this is another curious thing here. Resident Evil 2 did really well. But it just goes to show you how, you know, things are like extremely biased. How the fuck you have the same game and the Xbox Metacritic is at a 93 currently. That is, what is this, the 23rd? And it's at 9 o'clock. And the PS4 has 91. How does that work? How does an identical game have a lower score on one platform than the other? I don't get that. Don't even understand that. Don't know what kind of foolery that shit is. But it goes to show you there's a lot of foolishness going on in the industry and you know, behind closed doors. Whatever the fucking case is. It has a high Metacritic, I will say. From what I hear too, the people were really fucking complaining about how hard the game was. You know, they were saying how tough the game was. So it's like, there's even like IGN, right? So IGN, they just recently released they rescinded their review because the reviewer didn't play half the fucking game, but somehow reviewed the game. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said before, the foolishness is just never ending when it comes to this generation. It's never ending. And it looks like it's getting worse and worse and worse. You get paid off here, you get paid off there. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I understand that the game is a remaster. I get it. Does it deserve a 93 or 91? That's as stringent as they are with the reviews. Probably not. I haven't played it, you know, but based off of the things that I've seen, it is a reimagining of Resident Evil 2. And they follow very closely to the Resident Evil 2 formula, which itself is a 20-year-old game. So I'm sure like a lot of things, it has tank controls, I will say. You know, tank-ish controls, I should say. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you know, you don't have the mobility that you have in the other Resident Evils and things like that. These are all things that I've seen. And somehow it gets a really good score. But then again, Red Dead Redemption got a really good score with horrid controls, I should say. It was garbage. Somehow that game pulled some shit out of its ass, you know, and then they gave it the best rated generation game of all time, with as many flaws as it had. So you have a whole bunch of dick riders in the industry, and this does not bode well for the games, new IPs, and if you're not paying off these fucking journalists, reviewers, whatever you want to call it. So I mentioned earlier about what is it? What the fuck you call it? Days Gone. And I'm looking forward to the game. I'm not gonna buy Resident Evil. I don't think I will buy Resident Evil, but I do have an attraction to Days Gone. I really, really want to fuck with Days Gone. There's a lot of different things I mentioned before, such as the, what is it? The zombies that they have in the game being, they live, they drink, they eat. They're kind of like the I Am Legend things, you know what I'm saying? But the complaint was, it doesn't feel like I'm attacking the guys. It doesn't feel like you don't have that crunchy impact. You know, it just doesn't have the impact that they want. No one really complained about the story. You know what I mean? The story is kind of like your typical story. So I'm not really diving into that one. My complaint is really people are saying that the gameplay is lackluster because the guns don't feel weighty. The melee attacks don't feel weighty or crunchy. And I feel like that game is going to get destroyed in reviews. That game is going to probably get a 75 on the Metacritic. I guarantee you. It's going to sell because I know that there's still people out there they just want to see the zombie shit. That's what they want to see. They want to see hundreds of zombies on the screen. And then on top of it, it's a single player game. And I know the stigma for single player games is, you know, it's not as bad as it was before because everybody wanted the multiplayer game, but people want to look at that shit and be like, oh, it could have been a horror mode. And I just guarantee you that game is going to get ripped to shreds. You got a game that's trying to do something new. And the industry, because they didn't get paid off, is going to destroy that game. Destroy it. And that's a shame. That's a real shame. My last topic I want to talk about is oh gosh, Microsoft talking about how they want to be the Netflix of cloud gaming, and how what did he say? Let me try to pull up some shit here. So I'm not going to make a whole big stink about it. You guys already know. Let's see here. There's some quotes here. We describe it as shorthand, the Netflix for games. We have as much of a shot to build a subscription service as anyone else. We have a huge backlog and we have the structural position to do it. Listen, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. I'm not going to sit there and say you shouldn't, and it may stifle the industry. But you don't have the content for people to be purchasing your shit. As of now, you haven't proved yourself for almost 20 years. What do you have that will make me buy it? Just renting third-party games? You know what I'm saying? And then you have to rely on the cloud itself. Sony tried to do that shit and failed. You can't. You cannot do it. You can't do it. Microsoft doesn't have, it's not that they don't have the technical prowess. They don't have the drive to do it. They don't have it in them. They don't have it in them. They don't care. They want to make money. They don't have the pride to do it. They don't have the content to do it, to make some kind of exclusive shit. Thus, they don't have it. They don't have it in them. And I can't wait for everybody to see it too. People are gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I'm saying? You're streaming a 1080p game with that bandwidth, and everybody want to jump into it as well, right? Fine, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, content is king. You don't have the content, and you can't rely on third party. You're gonna inconvenience a whole bunch of fucking people. Nobody wants to be inconvenienced. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. What you liked or disliked about the video, and if you liked it, a sub would be appreciated. And guess what? For the people who placed a dislike on my old video, or the video previously, fuck you. Don't even give a fuck. Have a great day.